Meanwhile, our friend Jeff Bezos earns approximately $140,000 per minute. This list of the top 10 worst things billionaires did this year is not definitive, with 2,919 billionaires and over 80 million multimillionaires in the world. Your favorite or least favorite celebrity is probably not on this list. Jeffrey Epstein is not on this list. P. Puffy Diddy, with his over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, is not on this list. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, with his predilection for teddy bears and underage children, is not on this list. Mark Zuckerberg, with his estimated $300 million, 2,300-acre Hawaii estate, is not on this list. We at Billionaires News Now welcome your comments regarding the billionaires who are missing from this list. We invite your suggestions for the billionaires who should be included here, or who should be sent to the guillotine, or to the mouth of the volcano, an active volcano, or the Vermette Arena to fight to the finish. In these trying, unequal times, where the world's richest 10% holds about 53% of the world's wealth, while we, the regular people in the bottom 50%, hold only around 8% of the world's wealth, Billionaires News Now is here for you. In the United States alone, the top 1% holds about 30% of the U.S.'s wealth, while we, the people in the bottom 50%, hold only around 2.5% of the U.S.'s wealth. The current U.S. population is around 340 million people, so this means approximately 3.4 million people hold about 30% of the U.S.'s wealth, while around 171 million people collectively hold about 2.5% of the U.S.'s wealth. The median household income in the United States is around $60,000, which means that the average income for the people, we the people, in the bottom 50% is significantly lower than $60,000. Meanwhile, our friend Jeff Bezos earns approximately $140,000 per minute. Per minute. Every minute, Jeff Bezos earns more than double the median household income for people in the United States. Jesus, take the wheel because I am so tired. Is God looking down at this mess? Actually, hold on. This is all happening on God's watch. He's asleep at the wheel. Give me the wheel back. I don't want the sleeping baby Jesus anywhere near the wheel. Do you all remember that quote from Sex and the City where Charlotte said even her hair felt tired? Yeah, my hair feels real tired. So let's talk about the top 10 worst things billionaires did this year. Let's talk about Jeff Bezos' estimated $50 million wedding. Now, before we talk about number one, Jeff Bezos' wedding, I would like to preface by saying these top 10 worst things that billionaires did this year is presented to you in no particular order. We just happen to be starting with Jeff Bezos' $50 million wedding.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
So, number one, Jeff Bezos' wedding. On June 27th, Jeff Bezos married America's sweetheart, Lauren Sanchez, in an estimated $50 million ceremony in Venice, Italy. Guests to the approximately $50 million wedding reportedly included Leonardo DiCaprio, Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King, Kim and Khloe Kardashian, Kris, Kendall and Kylie Jenner, Tom Brady, Bill Gates, Usher, Orlando Bloom, Eva Longoria, Ivanka Trump, Josh and Jared Kushner, Ellie Goulding, Brooke Snyder, Scooter Braun and Sydney Sweeney, and others. For the 200 or so guests, about 90 of their private jets converged on Venice. $50 million for one wedding. In terms we can understand, $50 million could pay the public college tuition for 10,000 kids. $50 million could buy 10 million slices of pizza. 100,000 people could eat a slice of pizza every day for 3 months. That's the population of Louisville, Kentucky. For $50 million, everyone in Louisville, Kentucky could eat a slice of pizza every day for 3 months. Or, if you're Jeff Bezos, for $50 million, you can have a wedding. As of June 27th of this year, $50 million represented approximately 0.02% of Jeff Bezos' estimated $242 billion wealth, at least as of June 27th of this year. His net worth is, of course, much higher now. For comparison purposes, 3 countries around the world have a GDP near $242 billion, including the countries of Nigeria, Chile, and Finland. Now, compare that to the average U.S. person. For example, if someone has a net worth of $100,000, 0.02% of $100,000 is $20. Imagine that. Imagine spending only $20 on your wedding. How about if someone has a net worth of $30,000? 0.02% of $30,000 is $6. Imagine spending only $6 on your wedding. That's about the cost of a Happy Meal or a Big Mac. Imagine that. At $6, you could spend $12 and have both the wedding and the Happy Meal. In May of 2023, while in the south of France, Jeff Bezos proposed to America's sweetheart, Lauren Sanchez, on board his mega yacht, which he calls the Kourou, K-O-R-U. The name Kourou comes from the Maori culture. The Maori are the indigenous people of New Zealand. In Maori culture, Kourou literally means loop or coil, and it refers specifically to the unfurling of a fern. Symbolically, the Kourou represents new life, growth, strength, and peace. Its spiral shape is often used in Maori art and tattoos to convey renewal and harmony. Jeff Bezos' mega yacht, the so-called Kourou, costs approximately $500 million to construct and costs tens of millions of dollars per year to operate. Do you remember when they proposed a plan to temporarily dismantle a historic bridge in the Netherlands when they were trying to launch the mega yacht? Luckily for the historic bridge, they ultimately scrapped the plan rather than the bridge. $500 million to build a yacht. In terms we can understand, $500 million could buy every single child living in the United States a Happy Meal, with an extra 27 million Happy Meals left over. 27 million is the approximate population of the Philippines. So, for $500 million, every kid in the United States, plus every single person living in the Philippines, could have a Happy Meal. Imagine that. For $500 million, we could be making friends instead of enemies. Jeff Bezos proposed to America's sweetheart, Lauren Sanchez, with a pink diamond engagement ring estimated to be worth around $3 to $5 million. Either way, $3 to $5 million is pocket change for Jeff Bezos, who earns approximately $140,000 per minute. This means if the roughly 30-carat pink diamond ring cost $5 million, it took Jeff Bezos about 35 minutes to earn the $5 million to pay for the ring. For comparison, someone who earns $36 per hour earns 60 cents per minute. They would need over 8 million minutes, or about 16 years, assuming they're working full-time, to earn the $5 million to pay for the ring. Or how about if someone earns the federal minimum wage, which is $7.25 per hour? So this means minimum wage workers earn 12 cents per minute. They would need over 41 million minutes, or, about 79 years, assuming they are working full-time, to earn the $5 million to pay for the ring. 79 years to earn $5 million. You'd be better off giving your significant other a pet rock. If it makes you feel better, a pet rock is worth just about the same as a diamond ring. And that's real talk, folks. Adam Conover taught us this over 10 years ago in 2014. Keep in mind, none of these numbers are adjusted for inflation, which means it would actually take longer, much, much longer than 79 years for someone earning $7.25 per hour to earn the $5 million to pay for the ring. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos earns about $200 million per day. Every 24 hours, he makes $200 million. The Republic of the Marshall Islands in the Central Pacific Ocean has a GDP of about $200 million. This means Jeff Bezos earns the equivalent of the GDP of an oceanic island nation every 24 hours. In terms we can understand, $200 million could buy 40 million kids in the United States a Happy Meal every 24 hours. Or, for $200 million, every single person living in Jakarta, Indonesia could have a Happy Meal every 24 hours. Jeff Bezos spent about 0.002% of his estimated $242 billion net worth to pay for the $5 million engagement ring. For comparison, 0.002% of $100,000 is about $2. Imagine spending $2 on an engagement ring. If your net worth is $30,000, 0.002% is about 60 cents. Imagine spending 60 cents on an engagement ring. For 60 cents, you could spend another $6 and have both the Happy Meal and the toy inside the Happy Meal. On April 14th, America's sweetheart, Lauren Sanchez, plus 5 other women, took Blue Origin's suborbital New Shepard tourist flight. The tourist flight lasted about 10 minutes, crossed the Kármán line, which is the edge of space, and offered a few minutes of weightlessness. The 5 other women on the tourist flight, along with America's sweetheart, Lauren Sanchez, were 1. Amanda Nguyen, a bioastronautics research scientist, 2. Aisha Bowe, an aerospace engineer, astronaut, and former NASA rocket scientist, 3. Gayle King, Oprah Winfrey's best friend and a CBS journalist, 4. Carrie Ann Flynn, a filmmaker, and 5. Katy Perry, best known for pop songs such as Teenage Dream, which was released in 2010, and for being the ex-wife of Russell Brand, the ex-girlfriend of Orlando Bloom, and the current girlfriend of former Canadian PM Justin Trudeau as of December of this year. While on board the 10-minute Blue Origin flight, Katy Perry sang "What a Wonderful World," and then, after landing back down on the ground, kissed the earth in celebration. Blue Origin is owned by Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez's now husband. Blue Origin has not released cost information for the 10-minute tourist flight to the edge of space. These are the known prices. 1. Blue Origin requires a refundable reservation deposit of $150,000 to begin the booking process. 2. Industry estimates of the prices range from roughly $200,000 to $500,000 to over $1 million per seat, with pricing often negotiated privately. And 3. In 2021, one of the 6 seats per Blue Origin tourist flight was auctioned for $28 million. So, if the flight only cost $1 million per seat, that's approximately $1 million for 10 minutes at the edge of space. That's $100,000 per minute, or $2.8 million per minute for the person who paid $28 million for their single seat. Recall that Jeff Bezos makes about $140,000 per minute. If he paid the cost for all 6 women on the 10-minute tourist flight, and it cost him $6 million total, or about 0.002% of his estimated $242 billion net worth, then it only took about 43 minutes for Jeff Bezos to earn the $6 million back. Recall that 0.002% of $100,000 is about $2. If your net worth is $30,000, 0.002% is about 60 cents. Imagine spending about 60 cents to almost $2 for a 10-minute tourist flight to the edge of space for you and 5 of your best friends. For the record, at least for December, these are the companies Jeff Bezos owns directly and/or controls via being the majority stockholder. Amazon, Whole Foods, Twitch, Zappos, Audible, AWS Elemental, IMDb, Amazon Robotics, Kiva Systems, Ring, as in Ring cameras, Blue Origin, the Washington Post, the newspaper that once broke the Watergate scandal and will never break another scandal again, Project Prometheus, which is an AI startup, Bezos Expeditions, which includes interests in Airbnb, Uber, Nextdoor, Doma, Sana Biotechnology, Toloka, Workday, Business Insider. That quote-unquote newspaper is now just called Insider, Basecamp, Plenty, and many more.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
Jeff Bezos paid the equivalent of someone else's entire net worth for his $50 million wedding. Number 2, a Bollywood wedding. And again, just to iterate, these top 10 worst things that billionaires did this year, this list is presented in no particular order. With apologies in advance for my pronunciations, both preceding and what's about to follow. Number 2, a Bollywood wedding. Netra, Mantena and Vamsi Gadiraju's Udaipur wedding in November is estimated to have cost around $8 to $9 million. The actual figure is unknown, and it could be much higher. The couple is rumored to have paid Jennifer Lopez about $2 million to be a performer at their wedding. $9 million is about 18% of what Jeff Bezos paid for his wedding. Who is this newlywed Bollywood couple who can afford to drop 18% of what Jeff Bezos paid for his $50 million wedding on their lavish Bollywood wedding? Netra Mantena is an Indian-American heiress and the daughter of Ramu Raju Mantena, a prominent figure in the U.S. pharmaceutical industry. Her father's net worth is estimated to be around $20 million. Vamsi Gadiraju is the co-founder and chief technology officer of Superorder, a tech platform. His company's estimated valuation is between $18 million to $25 million. Between the two of them, their combined net worth is roughly equivalent to the amount Jeff Bezos paid for his $50 million wedding in Venice. Think about that for a moment. Jeff Bezos paid the equivalent of someone else's entire net worth for his $50 million wedding in Venice, Italy. Wow. For a wealthy newlywed couple, $9 million seems like a genuine bargain for a lavish Bollywood wedding. How did a wealthy newlywed couple get away with paying only $9 million for their lavish Bollywood wedding? Let's take a look at the average cost of living in India versus the average cost of living in the United States. The average cost of living in India is significantly lower than in the United States, with India being about 83% to 274% less expensive than the United States overall. For example, the average monthly cost of living for one person in India is around $424, compared to approximately $2,500 in the United States. So, give or take a few $1 million, by having their estimated $9 million wedding in India, the couple was able to have a lavish Bollywood-style wedding that would have cost them nearly $18 million or as much as $34 million in the United States. To quote Alan Rickman by Grabthar's Hammer, what a savings. $9 million for one wedding. Just for funsies, what can $9 million buy you in India? An individual possessing $9 million in India would never again have to think about any of their basic needs, including food, housing, education, healthcare, and transportation. In terms we can understand, $9 million could pay for about 4 people to eat every day for the rest of their natural lives. $9 million could pay the rent for 50 families for more than 20 years. $9 million could pay the college tuition for about 5,000 kids. For $9 million, you could take over 4,000 of your closest friends to Disney World in Orlando, Florida for a full week, including the cost of the hotel, food and beverage, and the park itself. Wow, it's a happy world after all.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
How much would you love to be paid £7,000 for just getting out of bed? Kate worked about 14 events or days in 12 months. This means Kate was paid about £7,000 for each of her work events this year. Number 3 on the list of the top 10 worst things billionaires did this year is Will and Kate's many vacations. Will and Kate Middleton reportedly took at least 6 vacations within 9 months this year, not including their unreported holidays and the separate holidays they took apart from each other. The total estimated cost for the 6 vacations is about £845,000. Security for the 6 separate vacations cost the UK taxpayer about £185,000. Non-security costs may have been paid by the Duchy of Cornwall, which generates approximately £23 million of income for Will every year, including this year. Will has opted to exercise his crown exemption, which means he does not claim or pay any taxes on his income. Kate is estimated to be worth $10 million. Will is estimated to be worth well over $100 million, not including hard assets worth over $1 billion. For reference or comparison, about 5 countries around the world have a GDP around $1 billion, including Grenada, Vanuatu, and Comoros. Let's see how hard Will and Kate worked this year to earn their 6 vacations. Will and Kate Middleton worked or made a major joint public appearance approximately 9 times this year. At least one event was a birthday party, 1 or 2 events consisted of attending the Wimbledon finals, 2 events consisted of attending a concert or a performance, and the most notorious event followed in the beloved footsteps of the infamous Duke and Duchess of Windsor when they met and lavished affection upon Adolf Hitler and his Nazi regime. In this case, Will and Kate met and lavished affection upon Donald Trump and his MAGA regime. In fact, in the photos and the videos, it's the most alive we've seen Kate look since she reappeared. Not included here in the list, of course, are the flurry of unannounced, unplanned events Will and Kate abruptly engaged in, either together or separately, while Harry was in England for Archwell charity support and Invictus Games planning and other meetings unrelated to them, nor the flurry of unannounced, unplanned events Will and Kate abruptly engaged in, either together or separately, while Meghan was in Paris and New York for engagements unrelated to them. Will worked or made a major public solo appearance approximately 18 times this year. Combined with his 9 or so major joint appearances with Kate, that means Will worked about 27 times or days in total this year. Will's work included visiting with various football clubs, including attending a banquet with them, as well as attending football matches in Paris, France, and Zurich, Switzerland. He also attended a prestigious horse race as a part of his duties. That would be the Royal Ascot. And he traveled to Brazil for a week or so of charity work involving talking about climate change. Hard work if you can get it. Kate worked or made a major public solo appearance approximately 5 times this year. Combined with her 9 or so major joint appearances with Will, Kate worked about 14 times in total this year. Kate's work involved attending a parade, tying her hairpiece up into a bun, letting kids get rained on instead of sharing her umbrella with them because she couldn't risk letting her wigs and hairpieces getting wet, claiming the sun caused her brown wigs to turn blonde, flirting with Donald Trump, and having videos about each major season, that is, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, produced and released on her behalf. Wow, so busy, so hardworking. It must be so difficult to find clothes to fit her skeletal frame and wigs and hairpieces to stay on her head. No shade to Kate's many wigs and hairpieces. We all know that even if Kate isn't working hard, her fake hair most definitely is. For comparison, Charles completed nearly 600 public engagements and multiple international visits since resuming royal duties in April of this year, all while managing his ongoing cancer treatment. For reference, Kate claimed to be in full remission as of January 14th of this year. Note that Kate allegedly had precancerous cells present. She did not actually have cancer, which is likely why she's never said on the record which type of cancer she had, because she never actually had a cancer diagnosis. Her claiming to be in remission is odd for this reason. One does not go into remission when one does not have cancer in the first place. Yes, as a precaution, precancerous cells or tumors are typically removed or treated in some manner, yes. However, they may never become cancerous even if they are not removed. As someone who has lived through this almost exact same scenario, including needing an abdominal surgery that in no way required a 2-week hospital stay, 1, I do understand and empathize with how deeply stressful the situation is. And 2, I'm deeply offended Kate lied and continues to lie about it. After the end of my ordeal, at no point did I tell anyone I was in remission, because that would have been a lie. I never had cancer. I had a tumor removed, but I did not have cancer. Maybe Kate announcing her remission on January 14th of this year was also her way of announcing she would only be working about 14 times this year. Will really had her beat, pun intended, with his 27 days of work. Let's journey through Will and Kate's at least 6 vacations this year to see how they relaxed from all the hard work that they did. Vacation 1. In late January to early February, with 1 major public engagement each under their belts so far, Will and Kate took a family ski vacation to the French Alps. Just in case you didn't know, ski vacations in the Alps can be expensive depending on the accommodations, transport, ski passes, guides, security. Now here we're talking about 2 royal adults plus 3 royal children, all with security. For a duration of about 7 days, the estimated cost would include 1. A luxury chalet at about $25,000 to £40,000. 2. A UK to France private round-trip flight at about £20,000 to £30,000. 3. Ski staff, guides, and logistics at about £10,000 to £15,000. And 4. That all-important supplemental security at about £15,000 to £25,000. So the total estimated cost for Will and Kate's first vacation is about £70,000 to £110,000. £110,000 for a single vacation. £110,000 could buy the average house in the UK. £110,000 could put 2 kids through a UK university. Or, you could go skiing in the French Alps for 7 days. Vacation 2. Around February 16th, despite Will being the president of the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, Will and Kate skipped the annual BAFTA Awards to take a family vacation to the private Caribbean island of Mustique. By this time, Will had about 4 major public engagements under his belt so far, and Kate had 3. The Villa Antilles, where they reportedly stayed, cost about £33,000 per week, or roughly $40,000 in US money. For a 2-week stay at the villa, the estimate is about £66,000, or about $80,000. That price is for accommodations only. It does not include the cost of the private flights, the security, the food, the beverage, and we know they need a lot of beverage, insurance, transport, or staff costs. For 2 adults plus 3 children, all with security for a duration of about 10 days, the estimated costs include 1. The villa at about £33,000 per week, 2. A UK to Mustique private round-trip flight at about 80,000 to 120,000 pounds. Wow. Number 3. On-island staff, catering, and logistics at about 20,000 to 30,000 pounds. And 4. That all-important supplemental security at about 30,000 to 50,000 pounds. So, the estimated total cost for Will and Kate's second vacation is about 200,000 to 260,000 pounds. 260,000 pounds for a single vacation. 260,000 pounds could buy 52,000 ice cream cones, or college tuition for 6 kids, or apparently about 10 days in a private villa on the private island of Mustique. 260,000 pounds. Wow. Vacation 3. In early April, instead of joining the rest of their family for Easter celebrations, Will and Kate took a family ski vacation back to ye old French Alps. By this time, though, Will had 13 major public engagements under his belt, and Kate had 6. So busy by April, oh my goodness, working so hard. As we all know, French ski vacations can be very expensive, and we'll guesstimate that it cost about the same in January. So, another 110,000 pounds for a single vacation. Recall that 110,000 pounds could buy the average house in the UK, or, college tuition for 2 kids. Vacation 4. In late April to early May, Will and Kate took an anniversary holiday to the Isle of Mull in Tobermory, Scotland. By this time, Will had 1 more major public engagement under his belt, so he was up from 13 to 14. Kate still had her 6. The reason Will had 1 additional work event is because he took a break from his Easter vacation in the French Alps to attend a soccer match in Paris, France. As for Will and Kate's anniversary holiday, accommodation and transport estimated to cost around 5,000 to 10,000 pounds. Security cost around 10,000 to 20,000 pounds. So, the estimated total cost for Will and Kate's 4th vacation is only about 15,000 to 30,000 pounds. Almost a bargain compared to their other vacations. 30,000 pounds for a single vacation. 30,000 pounds could buy a car in the UK, or 3,000 cups of fancy coffee at 10 pounds each. That's a cup of fancy coffee for every single person living in the Isles of Scilly in the ceremonial county of Cornwall in England. Or, a modest little anniversary holiday for only 30,000 pounds. Vacation 5. In mid-July, Will and Kate took a family luxury vacation aboard a private super yacht sailing around the glamorous island of Kefalonia in Greece. By this time, by mid-July, Will had 19 major public engagements under his belt so far, and Kate was all the way up to 8. Wow, working so hard. The value of the mega yacht has been estimated to be as low as $40 million. Chartering or using a luxury yacht of this class can range from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars per week, depending on arrangements and whether the yacht was provided as a courtesy or privately booked. For 2 adults plus 3 children, each with special security, for a duration of 7 days. The estimated costs include 1. The weekly operating cost of a mega yacht at about 120,000 to 180,000 pounds. That's per week to operate a mega yacht in the $40 million class. 2. A UK to Greece private round trip at about 30,000 to 50,000 pounds. 3. Port fees, fuel, and crew at about 20,000 to 30,000 pounds. And 4. That all-important supplemental security at about 25,000 to 40,000 pounds. If the yacht was only $40 million, the estimated total cost for Will and Kate's 5th vacation is about 200,000 to 300,000 pounds. However, in this case, while the UK taxpayer footed their security bill as usual, it is highly doubtful Will and Kate personally paid any costs directly related to the luxury mega yacht. So, billionaire couple Will and Kate know how to save themselves some money by accepting expensive gifts from foreign sheiks and government officials. How thrifty of them! To quote Alan Rickman, by Grabthar's hammer, what a savings! What's that, you ask? Will and Kate accepted gifts and/or cash in exchange for access, just like Charles, Camilla, Andrew, Fergie, and other members of the British royal family, the infamous BRF, have routinely been caught doing? Why yes, they allegedly did. Will and Kate were spotted on the Opera, a $450 million mega yacht owned by Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed, a senior UAE official who is said to be worth $10 billion. And just for reference, about 6 countries around the world have a GDP near $10 billion, including Fiji, Liberia, and Monaco. Will allegedly took a break from this 5th vacation to attend a football game in Zurich, Switzerland. Wow, so hardworking. With their friend of the Sheikh discount, rather than a total estimated cost of about £1.3 million to take a holiday on a $450 million yacht, the estimated subtotal cost for Will and Kate's 5th vacation is about £55,000 to £90,000. £90,000 for a single vacation. £90,000 could buy 1,000 kids their school lunch every day for a month in the UK. Or it can buy you a week or so on a luxury super yacht in Greece. Once Will and Kate were outed for taking their 5th vacation on a mega yacht owned by a sheikh from the United Arab Emirates, the conservative Daily Mail leaked that they were actually on the Almax, a luxury yacht owned by Massimo Perotti, the executive chairman of San Lorenzo, who is worth around $700 million. And just for reference, about 2 countries around the world have a GDP near $700 million, including Dominica and Micronesia. Per the conservative Daily Mail, Will and Kate were allegedly on one of the world's first fuel cell super yachts, a milestone in the future of sustainable boating, estimated to be worth £40 million. The Daily Mail also affectionately reported that George wanted a hamburger, prompting a smaller boat to be sent out from the luxury mega yacht to fetch him a burger from a McDonald's in Laganas village on one of the Ionian islands of Greece. Because that's so relatable for the rest of us. Who among us hasn't craved a fast food burger while on vacation on board a mega yacht in the Greek islands? For reference, the Daily Mail is controlled by Jonathan Harmsworth, the 4th Viscount Rothmere, who is worth about £1 billion. Recall that about 5 countries around the world have a GDP about $1 billion, and those include Grenada, Vanuatu, and Comoros. The Daily Mail is known to take its talking points directly from representatives from Charles, Camilla, and other members of the British royal family, which is unsurprising given who owns the Daily Mail. This is just a little reminder to remember it's a good rule of thumb to know who owns the news and entertainment you are consuming. Vacation 6. In late August to early September, Will and Kate were expected for the annual Balmoral summer stay in the Scottish Highlands with the rest of their families. Marginal household costs are estimated to be £5,000 to £10,000. Security is estimated to cost £15,000 to £25,000. The estimated total cost for Will and Kate's 6th vacation is only about £20,000 to £35,000. Given the cost of their other vacations, this one's almost a steal. £35,000 for a single vacation. £35,000 could sponsor 350 animals at a wildlife sanctuary for an entire year. Or it could buy over 11,000 kids across 55 different schools in the UK their lunches. By the time of their 6th vacation, Will had 19 major public engagements under his belt so far, and Kate had 8, the same number of work engagements they had completed by the time of their 5th vacation. But it is summertime. They can't be expected to work the summer months of July through September. In fact, recall that Will even took a break from his vacation and worked on July 10th by attending a football match in Zurich, Switzerland. And Will and Kate both worked on July 12th and July 13th by attending the Wimbledon finals in London. Plus, on September 4th, Will and Kate worked again by visiting the Natural History Museum and taking a photo op with the children selected to be seen with them there. That's a total of 3 work events within 3 summer months. Wow, so busy. Must be exhausting, especially having to work in the summer. Setting aside that Charles completed nearly 600 public engagements since April of this year, all while managing ongoing cancer treatment, Will worked about 27 events in total this year, and Kate worked about 14 events in total this year. Non-security costs for them may have been paid by the Duchy of Cornwall, which generates approximately £23 million of untaxed income for Will every year, income on which Will does not pay any income taxes as he opted to exercise his Crown exemption. For someone earning approximately £23 million of untaxed income per year, does any of this seem fair? That's a rhetorical question. £185,000 were charged to UK taxpayers to pay the increased security costs for these 6 separate vacations. An estimated £185,000. £185,000 could buy school lunches for 150 kids for an entire year. Will and Kate's 6 separate vacations in 9 months cost a total estimated £845,000. Is the estimated £185,000 the UK taxpayers were charged worth it? Let's pretend gender parity exists and evenly split the £185,000 the UK taxpayers were allegedly charged for the 6 vacations Will and Kate took within 9 months this year. Will worked about 27 events or days in 12 months. This means Will was paid about £3,500 for each of his work events this year. Kate worked about 14 events or days in 12 months. This means Kate was paid about £7,000 for each of her work events this year. How much would you love to be paid £7,000 for just getting out of bed? Those are supermodel rates, and we at least know supermodels worked for their money.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
How much would you love to be paid £47,000 for just getting out of bed in the morning? £47,000. That is about $64,000. Number 4 on the list of the 10 worst things that billionaires did this year. Number 4, Will and Kate's many forever homes. That is correct. Will and Kate have moved into yet another forever home. They moved again this year. So many moves, so busy. In between the 27 work events, 27 for Will, 14 for Kate. Oh, she also probably had to manage the movers all on her own. Will and Kate Middleton have had at least 5 royal residences within 15 years, and they just moved into their newest forever home, Forest Lodge. Their first forever home was supposed to be apartment 1A at Kensington Palace, which spreads across 4 floors. That's 4 different stories, and has about 21 rooms, including 5 reception rooms, 3 bedrooms, and at least 2 nurseries, and is valued at £635 million. I will give that to them though. It's located inside Kensington Palace, which is a historic building, but wow, £635 million for a 21-room apartment spread across 4 floors. Will and Kate renovated apartment 1A at least 3 times within 4 years. Not adjusted for inflation, Will and Kate spent over £15 million within 4 years to renovate apartment 1A in Kensington Palace. After only 2 of the 3 renovations, the cost to the UK taxpayer was officially reported via the Sovereign Report as £4.5 million or $7.6 million. This means the UK taxpayer paid 60% of the cost. Their second forever home was supposed to be Amner Hall, a multi-story 10-bedroom country house located within the 20,000-acre Sandringham estate. Amner Hall is worth at least £14 million. In 2015, the estimated renovation costs were £1.5 to £2 million. Their third forever home was supposed to be Adelaide Cottage in Windsor Great Park in southeast England, which Will and Kate purchased for about £6.5 million. Much like their move to their newest forever home of Forest Lodge, their move to Adelaide Cottage increased security costs and reduced public access to public parks. Renovation costs at the time were estimated to be £2 to £3 million. Their current and fourth forever home is Forest Lodge, a 250-acre estate also located in Windsor Great Park in southeast England, and estimated to be worth about £22 million. And the residency of Will and Kate required the further enclosure of huge swaths of the Royal Public Park. Their recent renovations to Forest Lodge are estimated to have cost around £2 to £3 million. Not counting for inflation, the total estimated value of their 4 forever homes is about £678 million. Not counting for inflation, the total estimated cost of their renovations to their 4 separate forever homes is about £24 million. Non-security costs may have been paid by the Duchy of Cornwall, which, just as a reminder, generates £23 million of untaxed income per year for Will, or the cost of the renovations may have been paid out by the sovereign grant, which is paid by the UK taxpayer. £24 million to renovate 4 separate forever homes. £24 million could build 6 brand new schools in the UK. £24 million could pay 800 school teachers for an entire year. £24 million could feed 40,000 children for an entire year. £24 million. The 2014 Sovereign Grant report revealed the actual cost to UK taxpayers for Will and Kate's many forever home renovations to date was £4.5 million. This means by 2014, Will and Kate had allegedly spent £7.5 million on renovations, of which the UK taxpayer paid 60% of the cost. By 2025, and not adjusted for inflation, Will and Kate allegedly spent about £24 million, the total estimated cost of their renovations to all 4 of their forever homes. If UK taxpayers footed 60% of the cost of those repeated renovations, that means UK taxpayers paid around £15 million, and likely higher since these figures are not adjusted for inflation. Even if the UK taxpayer allegedly only paid the total estimated security costs for each of Will and Kate's 5 different moves within 15 years, which the Sovereign Report routinely reveals is not true, is it worth it for Will's 27 work events per year or for Kate's 14 work events per year? £15 million and likely much more charged to the UK taxpayer for luxury home renovations. £15 million could pay 500 school teachers for a year, a whole year. Let's take a walk through the many forever homes and royal residences of Will and Kate. Residence 1. In 2010, Will and Kate rented a 4-bedroom farmhouse on the Bodorgan estate for about £750 or about $1,100 per month on the Isle of Ainslie in Wales. Bodorgan estate covers approximately 14,000 acres and is the home of Sir George Myrick and his wife, Lady Candida Taps Jervis Myrick. George Myrick was worth about £130 million in 2020. For reference or comparison, the country of Nauru, an island and microstate in the South Pacific Ocean, has a GDP around £132 million. Bodorgan is the largest country estate on Ainslie and features various structures, gardens, and parkland. In 2010, the average property value on Ainslie was about £160,000. Properties in the area today have estimated values about £400,000. There's no mention of renovations being made to Will and Kate's rented farmhouse in 2010, which means their primary cost was only their rent, and the security, and the round-the-clock staff, and so on. But focusing on the rental cost alone, £750, or about $1,100, in 2010 is about £1,100, or about $1,700 today. While these prices are on the higher end, these rent rates are on par for a major city. Will and Kate actually paid a mostly relatable for the rest of us rent rate in 2010, although it's unlikely any of the rest of us would be allowed to rent a 4-bedroom farmhouse located on a private 14,000-acre estate with round-the-clock staff and security housed nearby. Residence 2. In 2011, before their marriage and immediately after their engagement, Will and Kate lived in private apartment 1A within Kensington Palace in London, with an estimated value today of around £635 million. Apartment 1A at Kensington Palace spreads out over 4 stories or floors, 4 floors, and has about 21 rooms, including the 5 reception rooms, the 3 bedrooms, and the 2 nurseries. It also features staff quarters and various other royal amenities. Other than the tax implications to the UK taxpayer, the claimed impact to the public was said to be minimal. The renovation cost was estimated at the time to be around $6.5 million, but existing palace infrastructure should have kept the move-in and residency costs relatively low, or, at least low for a royal. Even the increased security costs, which, as always, are paid by the UK taxpayer, should have been minimal as existing palace security was already in place. So who paid? Will out of his untaxed £23 million per year, or the UK taxpayer via the sovereign grant? That was a rhetorical question. $6.5 million for renovations. $6.5 million could buy 100,000 kids a Happy Meal every day for 2 weeks. $6.5 million could pay 130 teachers for a year. Heck, $6.5 million could pay to build the entire school. Or, $6.5 million of the taxpayers' money, you can renovate your 21-room apartment. Residence 2. In 2012, after their marriage and in preparation for George, Will and Kate renovated apartment 1A again. The estimated renovation cost at the time was £1 million, allegedly paid personally out of Will's untaxed income from the Duchy of Cornwall. As with their initial move into apartment 1A in 2011, the increased public impact was claimed to be minimal other than the tax implications for the UK taxpayer. Again, we ask, and only rhetorically, who paid? Will out of his untaxed £23 million per year, or the UK taxpayer via the sovereign grant? Well, as revealed by the sovereign grant report in 2014, the actual cost to the UK taxpayer was about £4.5 million, or $7.6 million. £4.5 million charged to the UK taxpayer for 2 rounds of luxury home renovations to a 21-room apartment. £4.5 million could buy a Happy Meal for 1.5 million children, or a Happy Meal for every single person living in Istanbul, Turkey. £4.5 million could build and fund an entire health clinic. But that's not where that £4.5 million of taxpayer money went. Oh no, it went to renovate a 21-room luxury apartment. Residence 3. In 2015, the Queen, or the royal estate, gifted to Will and Kate a country home called Amner Hall. Amner Hall is a multi-story 10-bedroom country house located within Sandringham Estate. Sandringham Estate covers approximately 20,000 acres, or an area roughly the size of San Francisco, making it one of the largest private estates in the United Kingdom. Sandringham Estate is located in Norfolk, England, and it includes various buildings, gardens, and farmland. Sandringham Estate is now privately owned by Charles upon the death of Elizabeth. The estimated market value of Sandringham Estate today is about £60 million, or $73 million. Amner Hall is not publicly valued separately from Sandringham Estate. For comparison or reference, though, the cost of a 10-bedroom country house in England today can be anywhere from £1 million to over £14 million, depending on its location, its features, who owns it, and it's probably safe to say that Amner Hall is likely worth at least £14 million, if not more. In 2015, the estimated renovation costs were said to be between £1.5 to £2 million, for modernizing and personalizing the interiors, the nursery, and for those all-important security upgrades. The cost of the security upgrades would of course been paid by the UK taxpayer, as well as any ongoing security costs. The ongoing security costs in 2015 for Amner Hall were claimed to be about £10,000 to £30,000 annually. Given that security for a 7-day vacation can cost the UK taxpayer £30,000 or more, it's likely the publicly quoted figure of £10,000 to £30,000 annually is a little bit low and maybe intentionally inaccurate. Such a low figure implies that Will and Kate only stay in their country home about 7 days out of the year. Asking only rhetorically, who pays? Will out of his untaxed £23 million per year, or the UK taxpayer via the sovereign grant? £2 million for renovations. £2 million could buy 3,500 kids their lunches for a whole year. £2 million could fund a food bank for an entire decade. Or, you can renovate your country home located within a 20,000-acre estate, an area roughly the size of San Francisco. Back to residents too. In 2015, only 4 years after their initial renovations in 2011, and only 3 years after their further renovations in 2012, Will and Kate renovated apartment 1A in Kensington Palace, again, for the third time. Recall that the 4-story, that's 4 floors, 21-room apartment 1A in Kensington Palace is today valued at around £635 million. The renovation costs in 2011 were around £6.5 million. The renovation costs in 2012 were estimated at the time to be only £1 million. The estimated renovation costs in 2015 were said to be nearly £8 million, not including the £1.5 to £2 million to renovate their country home and not adjusted for inflation. This means Will and Kate spent over £15 million within 4 years to renovate apartment 1A in Kensington Palace. The impact to the UK taxpayer was claimed to be minimal. Will and Kate allegedly paid for the non-security aspects of the renovations out of Will's untaxed income. That £23 million per year he pays 0 taxes on. Rhetorically asking, again, who paid? Will out of his untaxed £23 million every year, or the UK taxpayer via the sovereign grant? Again, rhetorical question only. Over £15 million for 3 separate luxury home renovations within 4 years. If you had a nature preserve, £15 million could feed nearly 7,000 elephants for the year. £15 million could buy 250,000 school children their lunches for a full month. Or you could feed the population of Dhaka, Bangladesh, or Los Angeles, California every day for a month. £15 million could pay 650 teachers their salaries for a full year. Residence 4. In 2022, 7 years after being gifted with Amner Hall in Eastern England, and only 7 years after renovating Amner Hall for the first time and apartment 1A for the third time, Will and Kate purchased Adelaide Cottage in Windsor Great Park in southeast England for about £6.5 million. Windsor Great Park is a royal park of about 5,000 acres, or, about 6 times larger than Central Park in New York. Windsor Great Park is located in the south of the town of Windsor on the border of Berkshire and Surrey in England, and is adjacent to the private 650-acre home park, which is about 1.25 times the size of Monaco. The modest Adelaide Cottage is said to be only 4 bedrooms with no room for in-house staff. Instead, round-the-clock staff and security was housed in virtually adjacent and nearby properties within the estate, significantly impacting the public, both in restricting public access to public parks and with dramatically increased security costs due to Adelaide Cottage's highly public location within a public park. Renovation costs at the time were estimated to be around £2 to £3 million. For modernization, interiors, nursery preparations, and of course, those all-important security upgrades. The cost of the security upgrades, of course, would have been paid by the UK taxpayer, as well as the increased ongoing security costs, publicly claimed in 2022 to be only about £40,000 to £60,000 per year. Now remember, given that security for a 7-day vacation can cost the UK taxpayer, around £30,000 or more, it's likely the publicly quoted figure of £40,000 to £60,000 annually is ridiculously low and may be intentionally inaccurate, because this low of a figure implies that Will and Kate only stay in their second country home about 10 days out of the year. Much like their move to their newest forever home of Forest Lodge, their move to Adelaide Cottage increased security costs and reduced public access to public parks. Annual minor upgrades to all of their homes and offices are estimated to cost around £500,000 to £700,000. £2 to £3 million for renovations, an additional £500,000 to £700,000 every year for minor refurbishments to all of their properties and offices. Again, only asking rhetorically, who pays? Will out of his untaxed £23 million per year, or the UK taxpayer via the sovereign grant? Nearly £4 million could buy over 1 million Big Macs in the UK, enough for everyone living in Liverpool to have one, with thousands of Big Macs left over to spare. £4 million could buy 6,500 students their lunches for an entire year. Residence 5. In 2025, 10 years after being gifted with Amner Hall in Eastern England, and only 10 years after renovating Amner Hall for the first time and Apartment 1A for the third time, and only 3 years after purchasing and renovating Adelaide Cottage, Will and Kate started renting at market rate Forest Lodge, a 250-acre estate, which is also located in Windsor Great Park in southeast England. Recall that Windsor Great Park is a royal public park of 5,000 acres, which is about 6 times larger than Central Park in New York. Forest Lodge itself sits on about 250 acres, which is the size of about 190 football fields. Whereas Adelaide Cottage only had 4 bedrooms, Forest Lodge is said to have 8 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms, as well as multiple reception rooms and long grand galleries, but with allegedly no room for in-house staff. As with Adelaide Cottage, round-the-clock staff and security at Forest Lodge will be housed in virtually adjacent and nearby properties on the 250-acre estate, significantly impacting the public, both in greater restrictions on public access to public parks and with dramatically increased security costs, due to Forest Lodge's highly public location within a public park. As it is, local residents are seething over the fresh, new Will and Kate exclusion zone that their move to Forest Lodge caused to be created. This 6-mile exclusion zone, cutting through a public park, forced the closure of a children's environmental education center, a non-profit. Recall that one of Kate's many important projects this year was to have others produce and release on her behalf 4 videos celebrating each season. And also recall that Kate's very important platform is the importance of early childhood and how important it is for everyone to get closer to nature. But, Forest Lodge needs a 6-mile exclusion zone because they want to live in their 4th forever home located in a public park. I suppose instead of going to the now closed Children's Environmental Education Center, those kids can just go online and watch those so important videos about each season. That should really make up for the closure of an environmental education center. The market value of Forest Lodge today is estimated to be around £22 million. In 2001, Forest Lodge was listed for rent at around £15,000 per month. In 2025, adjusted for inflation, the monthly rate could be around £22,000 for rent every month. £22,000. Will and Kate secured a 20-year lease with the Crown Estate starting on July 5th and promptly renovated Forest Lodge. Renovating an 8-bedroom, 6-bathroom mansion in England can easily cost £300,000 to £600,000 or more, not including those all-important security upgrades, not including the further enclosure of even more public grounds, and the removal of existing tenants. Existing tenants whose legal leases were abruptly vacated once Will and Kate decided they wanted Forest Lodge. You heard me correctly. People who lived there had to leave, even though they had legal leases. In 2015, the estimated renovation costs for the 10-bedroom Amner Hall was said to be about £1.5 to £2 million. Adjusted for inflation, it's likely the renovations to the even larger Forest Lodge in 2025 cost around £2 to £3 million or more. Asking only rhetorically, so who paid? Will out of his untaxed £23 million per year, or the UK taxpayer via the sovereign grant? £3 million for renovations. £3 million could buy 5,000 children their lunches for a whole year. £3 million could buy over 850,000 Big Macs. That's 1 Big Mac for every single resident of Las Vegas, Nevada, with thousands of extra Big Macs to spare. You could have a real party. Or you could drop £3 million on a luxury home renovation because it's your 4th forever home and you swear you're not going to move again because this forever home is the real forever home. Not the other forever homes, but this one. 4th one is the charm? By 2025, and not adjusted for inflation, Will and Kate allegedly spent about £24 million on renovations on all 4 of their forever homes. UK taxpayers footed about 60% of the cost, which means UK taxpayers paid around £15 million and likely more, since these figures are not adjusted for inflation. £15 million for renovations. Recall that £15 million could buy laptops for 40,000 school children. £15 million could pay 500 school teachers for a year. £15 million could buy a Big Mac for every single person living in Toronto, Canada, or Kiev, Ukraine. Let's spread the cost out evenly over 14 years. That means each year, the average cost to the UK taxpayer for Will and Kate's many forever home renovations was about £1.2 million, per year. Let's also pretend gender parity exists and evenly split the £1.2 million the UK taxpayers were charged every year for Will and Kate's many forever home renovations. Let's also forget that Charles at least worked over 600 events in less than 9 months. Will worked 27 events or days in 12 months. This means Will was paid about £20,000 for each of his work events this year. If you add in the money the UK taxpayers were charged for his 6 vacations, this means Will was paid about £23,500 for each of his 27 work events this year. £23,500 for a day of work. £23,500 per work event. Work events that included attending football matches, that included attending the Wimbledon finals, that included attending Royal Ascot, which is a horse race. Work events that included a week-long charity event in Brazil. Work events that included, work. £23,500 for each one. Let's take a look at Kate. Kate worked 14 events or days in 12 months. This means Kate was paid about £40,000 for each of her work events this year. If you add in the money the UK taxpayers were charged for her 6 vacations, this means Kate was paid about £47,000 for each of her 14 work events this year. How much would you love to be paid £47,000 for just getting out of bed in the morning? £47,000. That is about $64,000. Recall that $60,000 is the median household income for people in the United States. This means each time Kate twirled her wiglet up into a bun, or refused to share her umbrella with young children of color, or showed up at Wimbledon, Kate earned the equivalent of a year's salary in the United States. Hard work if you can get it. As a reminder, Kate is estimated to be worth $10 million. Will is estimated to be worth well over $100 million, not including his hard assets worth over $1 billion. And just as a reminder, about 5 countries around the world have a GDP around $1 billion. That includes Grenada, Vanuatu, and Comoros. When Charles passes, Will's personal wealth is projected to exceed $3 billion. Will is currently worth over £1 billion. £1 billion could build 40 new schools. £1 billion could pay nearly 30,000 teachers for a year. £1 billion could feed all the children in London their school lunches for an entire year. Just for funsies, if Charles has passed and Will is finally worth $3 billion and not adjusted for inflation, it would only take Jeff Bezos about 15 days to earn the same $3 billion or so Will cannot wait to inherit from Charles. Jeff Bezos could gift the UK taxpayers with a fresh Will and Kate every 15 days. Imagine that. For even less money, Jeff Bezos could offer a fresh Will or a fresh Kate separately. Jeff Bezos only needs about a week to earn the £1 billion Will is currently worth. Jeff Bezos only needs about an hour to earn the $10 million Kate is currently worth. Given how rarely Will and Kate are seen in public together, heaven knows they probably wouldn't mind being sold separately.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
Shubo has acknowledged fathering over 100 children via surrogacy, and each surrogate child may have cost around $300,000, or for 100 surrogate children, Shubo may have paid as much as $30 million. Number 5 on the list of the worst things billionaires have done this year. And again, as a reminder, these are presented in no particular order. Here is number 5, Shubo, China's first father. Shubo has acknowledged fathering over 100 children via surrogacy outside of China. Surrogacy is illegal in China. Many of these children were carried by surrogates in the United States via surrogacy agencies located in California. The total estimated cost for a single surrogacy in California is between $120,000 to $250,000. This cost does not include the travel and accommodations necessary to move the surrogate child to China, which can range from $10,000 to $30,000 or more. This cost also does not include the associated attorney, citizenship, visa, other documentation, and consular fees, which can range from $3,000 to $10,000 or more. This means on the lower end, each surrogate child may have cost Shubo about $135,000, or for all 100 children, about $13.5 million. $13.5 million. On the higher end, each surrogate child may have cost around $300,000, or for 100 surrogate children, Shubo may have paid as much as $30 million. Xu is a prominent Chinese tech entrepreneur who made his estimated $4 billion plus fortune in the video game industry. For comparison, about 8 countries around the world have a GDP around $4 billion, including Aruba, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands. Xu's company is privately held, so there is no transparent market valuation as there is supposed to be with a publicly held company. In a major city such as Shanghai or Beijing, the base cost to raise a single child from birth to college graduation is about $130,000 to $145,000, or $1,000,000. These figures include education, food, housing, transportation, and basic living costs. These figures do not capture all of the opportunity costs or discretionary spending, for example, extracurriculars, tutoring, or private schooling. Without adjusting for inflation, the estimated cost to raise 100 children from birth to college graduation in China would be about $15 million, or 100 million won. Note that the cost of living in China is significantly lower than in the United States, with the overall expenses being about 45 to 75% less in China, depending on the specific area. For example, rent in China is approximately 60 to 74% less than in the United States. Therefore, the cost to raise a single child in the US from birth to age 18 is estimated to be about $310,000 to $390,000. This total does not include college, which can add significantly to the overall cost. The average cost of college in the United States is approximately $40,000 per year, which includes tuition, books, and living expenses. Over 4 years, this can total to around $155,000 for a private college, or about $110,000 for in-state public university. Thus, the total cost to raise a single child in the United States from birth all the way to college graduation is estimated to be about $420,000 to $545,000, whereas the same would only cost around $128,000 to $143,000 in China, so significantly less. To raise 100 children from birth to college graduation in the United States would be about $55 million, whereas the same would only cost around $15 million in China, or about, $40 million less. To quote Alan Rickman again, by Grabthar's hammer, what a savings. Imagine that. Billionaires saving money and cutting costs. So relatable. It's like they're clipping coupons, but instead of saving 10 cents, they're saving $40 million. Note that Shubo is not an isolated case. Xu is part of a little-known trend involving wealthy Chinese elites taking advantage of the lack of surrogacy oversight in the United States to create personal armies for themselves back home in China, where surrogacy is illegal. They are also using American surrogates because children born in the U.S. are automatically granted U.S. citizenship. During China's one-child-only policy, children born with U.S. citizenship fell outside of the restrictive one-child-only policy, which was abolished in 2015. Trying to circumvent China's one-child-only policy is one route by which this little-known trend for foreign surrogacy began. Another wealthy Chinese business executive who reportedly arranged for U.S. surrogates and American egg donors to have at least 10 daughters had the goal of marrying the 10 daughters off to influential families. Others in China are simply using their money to have the boys they couldn't have during China's one-child-only policy, or because they just don't want to be bothered with childbirth themselves, the same reason many wealthy individuals in the U.S. also use surrogacy. The growing Asian market for American surrogacy has drawn major American investment. For example, Peter Thiel is a major investor in a chain of IVF clinics across Southeast China, with branches opening in the United States. The first branch recently opened in Los Angeles, California. Peter Thiel's current net worth is estimated to be around $7 billion. For reference, about 2 countries in the world have a GDP around $7 billion, including Bermuda and Mauritania. Peter Thiel's wealth is primarily from his investments in companies such as PayPal, Facebook, and Palantir Technologies. Elon Musk currently has at least 14 known children with at least 4 different women. Xu, whose surrogacy activities were only exposed due to a court case, openly cited Elon Musk as a personal inspiration. In 2021, Elon Musk called the declining birth rate one of the biggest risks to civilization. In 2023, 1.62 children were born on average per woman in the United States, which is well below the replacement rate of 2.1. Like Peter Thiel and other conservative Silicon Valley elites, Elon Musk views technology as the solution. However, as selective pronatalists, they only want more babies of a certain kind and skin color. The goal is not to save America from demographic decline, but to populate the world with only their children. Selective pronatalists like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk use technology, 1, to ensure their children are and will be the healthiest and the smartest of all children, and 2, to have as many of them as possible.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
If you paid $1 in federal income taxes last year, then you paid more than SpaceX and Tesla combined. You paid more than Elon Musk's companies that are currently worth $2.3 trillion. Number 6 on the 10 worst things billionaires did this year. Again, in no particular order. Number 6, Elon Musk, selective pronatalist and the world's wealthiest person. As of December 16, Elon Musk's net worth is an estimated $685 billion. For reference, 2 countries around the world have a GDP around $685 billion, including Argentina and Ireland. Elon Musk's wealth primarily comes from his ownership stakes in Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI. Elon Musk is currently the world's wealthiest person. Elon Musk's DOGE, the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, claimed they created significant savings for the U.S. government, when in reality, DOGE actions cost the U.S. government about $135 billion this year alone, and will continue to exponentially cost the U.S. taxpayer for years to come. Approximately 300,000 federal workers have been fired so far, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. The full DOGE report can be read here. Elon Musk's net worth is an estimated $685 billion. Wow, imagine that. Someone worth $685 billion, costing the U.S. government taxpayers $135 billion in less than a year. Just for funsies, here are some stats related to Elon Musk's enormous personal wealth. Elon Musk is now worth nearly $700 billion. Someone working at the federal minimum wage would have to work more than 9.45 million years to make that much money. Elon Musk is originally from South Africa, yet he's in the United States feeding off the teat of the American taxpayer. If you paid $1 in federal income taxes last year, then you paid more than SpaceX and Tesla combined. You paid more than Elon Musk's companies that are currently worth $2.3 trillion. Elon Musk himself, the corporate welfare baby, would be worth $0 without $38 billion in corporate welfare. There is no single immigrant in the United States who has received more money from the U.S. taxpayer than Elon Musk. Elon Musk is on track to become the world's first trillionaire. Imagine if his wealth was capped at $999 million, and we taxed the remaining $239 billion. Just taxed it. We could end homelessness for $20 billion. We could end hunger for $40 billion. In terms we can understand, 650 million to 700 million people live on less than $2.15 per day. $700 billion over about 10 years could permanently lift 300 million to 500 million people out of poverty. 735 million people face chronic hunger and malnutrition. $700 billion over 10 to 15 years could fund nutrition programs, climate-resilient agriculture, food storage and distribution, and school feeding. Childhood malnutrition could be largely eliminated. 600,000 people die from malaria every year, and this poses a huge economic burden on the continent of Africa. $700 billion could eradicate malaria completely. 770 million people live without electricity. $700 billion could fund decentralized solar, update the power grid for developing nations, and sponsor clean cooking programs. The impact would be universal electricity access, a major reduction in greenhouse emissions, and improved health benefits from breathing cleaner air. Climate change would not be solved, but such a huge worldwide impact would bend the curve. 250 million children are not able to attend school. $700 billion could fund universal access to quality education and teacher training and support infrastructure. The impact would be poverty reduction, lower birth mortality, and higher economic growth. For $80 billion, knowledge could be made free, permanent, and indestructible, leading to a civilization immune from collapse. Out of $700 billion, you'd still have $620 billion left over. You could use the leftover $600 billion to buy 124 billion Big Macs and give every human being on the planet about 15 Big Macs each. You could give 340 million people a Big Mac every day for a year. 124 billion Big Macs would outnumber every single human being who has ever lived. For funsies, you could stack all of those Big Macs from the Earth to the Moon and about 32 separate and roughly 385,000 kilometer or 239,000 mile tall towers. For $620 billion at 47,000 pounds a pop, you could pay Kate to get out of bed nearly 10 million times. For $620 billion at $50 million a pop, Jeff Bezos could divorce and remarry 12,400 times.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
Donald Trump is estimated to have gotten his hands on about $7 billion in U.S. taxpayer extorted wealth, and that number will continue to grow exponentially over the next 3 years and beyond. Number 7 on the top 10 worst things that billionaires have done this year. And again, these are in no particular order. Number 7, Donald Trump and his merry cabinet of MAGA billionaires. It has taken the United States almost 250 years to be $37 trillion in debt. Donald Trump alone is responsible for 1/3 of that $37 trillion debt. All the other presidents combined are responsible for $2.5 trillion of the debt. Donald Trump alone is responsible for $12.5 trillion of the debt. This year alone, Donald Trump increased the U.S. national debt by $2.3 trillion. Meet the Trump administration's 12 billionaires. At a combined net worth of about $741 billion, It's the wealthiest White House in modern history. The world's richest man, the owner of the Houston Rockets, the former CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. These are just some of the 12 billionaires, not including Donald Trump, who have held roles in the U.S. administration this year. In total, they're worth about $740 billion. While previous administrations have included the ultra-rich, the wealth held by this group is larger even than the first Trump administration, which was previously the wealthiest administration in U.S. history. Excluding Elon Musk, who poured more than $294 million into contributions boosting Trump and other Republicans in the 2024 elections, the billionaires in the Trump administration, along with their spouses, gave more than $52 million to Trump, pro-Trump PACs, and the Republican National Committee in the 2024 election alone. Who are the 12 billionaires? 1. Elon Musk, whose, estimated net worth is around $685 billion. Donald Trump, the grifter-in-chief, estimated net worth $7 billion. Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, estimated net worth is $2 billion. Linda McMahon, A. McMahon, the Secretary of Education, estimated net worth is $3.2 billion. Steve Witkoff, the Special Envoy to the Middle East, is estimated to be worth $2 billion. Steve Feinberg, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, is estimated to be worth $5 billion. Joe Gebbia, Chief Design Officer, is estimated to be worth $8 billion. Mindy Hildebrand, the U.S. Ambassador to Costa Rica, is estimated to be worth $12 billion. Warren Stevens, the U.S. Ambassador to the UK, is estimated to be worth $3.4 billion. Kelly Loeffler, along with husband Jeff Sprecher, is estimated to be worth $1.3 billion. Tillman Fertitta, the U.S. Ambassador to Italy, is estimated to be worth $10.7 billion. Jared Isaacman, NASA Administrator, is estimated to be worth $1.3 billion. This is a rhetorical question only, but whose interest do you think these billionaires are looking out for? We, the people on the bottom, or the 1% at the top? Just a rhetorical question. During his first presidency, from 2017 to 2021, Donald Trump admitted to making over $1.6 billion in outside revenue and income. In his second presidency, starting this year, estimates suggest that he and his family have already made about $3.4 billion. The actual figure, of course, is likely to be much higher. Here is just one example of the Trump crime family grift. As part of a $1.4 billion total project in a push for critical mineral supply chains, Donald Trump Jr.'s startup has been awarded a $620 million loan from the Pentagon. This funding is the largest ever from the Pentagon's Office of Strategic Capital. Questions have been raised about potential conflicts of interest, though spokespeople for Donald Trump Jr. deny any political influence in brokering the $620 million deal. Rhetorical question. This is a loan from the Pentagon, a $620 million loan. That's $620 million in taxpayer money in the form of a loan from the Pentagon. Rhetorical question. What are the chances this $620 million loan is going to be repaid? No, just a rhetorical question. To date, Donald Trump is estimated to have gotten his hands on about $7 billion in U.S. taxpayer extorted wealth, and that number will continue to grow exponentially over the next 3 years and beyond. In closing, just as an example, on October 31st, just for funsies, Donald Trump hosted a Great Gatsby-themed Halloween party at his Mar-a-Lago estate just hours before 42 million Americans, about 1 in 8 people living in the U.S., were set to lose their SNAP food assistance government benefits amid Donald Trump's government shutdown. The Great Gatsby-themed party featured guests in 1920s attire and is rumored to have cost only about $3.4 million. One single party for $3.4 million, while literally 42 million Americans, 1 in 8 Americans, are literally starving.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
In case you're wondering why your 60 Minutes and your CBS News has a slightly different flavor, Larry Ellison would be the reason why. And what media entities does Jeff Bezos own? The Washington Post, which will never again break another scandal ever as long as Jeff Bezos owns it. Number 8 on the list of the top 10 worst things billionaires have done this year. Again, these are in no particular order. Number 8. The 7 richest billionaires in the world are all media barons. Think about that the next time you're consuming your news and entertainment. It's always good to know who's providing that news and entertainment to you. Just as an example, you'll recall Larry Ellison, already the owner of Paramount, Paramount Plus, and CBS News. That Larry Ellison, this is from a news article in November. Trump loyalist and CIA contractor Larry Ellison's purchase of CNN appears imminent and marks the latest venture into media for the world's second richest individual. But Ellison is not alone. Indeed, the world's 7 richest individuals are all now powerful media barons, controlling what the world sees, reads, and hears. Paramount Skydance, an Ellison-owned company, is in pole position to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, a conglomerate that controls gigantic film and television studios, streaming services like HBO Max and Discovery Plus, franchises like DC Comics, and TV networks such as HBO, TNT, Discovery Channel, TLC, Food Network, and CNN. This lead is largely due to Ellison's proximity to Donald Trump, who would ultimately have to sign off on such a deal. Here's another headline, this one from early December. Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, along with the sovereign wealth funds from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi, is an investor in Paramount's hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers. For now, Paramount has withdrawn their hostile bid for Warner Brothers. It seems the marginally better deal between Netflix and Warner Brothers will hold, although if Netflix and Warner Brothers are allowed to merge, that too will create a media monopoly, including Warner Brothers Film Studio, HBO and HBO Max, and intellectual property including Harry Potter, the DC Universe, Game of Thrones, Friends, The Big Bang Theory, The Sopranos, and so on, and so on, and so on. The world's 7 richest individuals are all now powerful media barons, controlling what everyone sees, what everyone reads, and what everyone hears, marking a new chapter in oligarchical control over society and striking yet another blow at a free, independent press and diversity and freedom of opinion. Who are the 7 billionaire media barons? 1. Larry Ellison. Estimated net worth is $238 billion. What media outlets does Larry Ellison own? Paramount Skydance, CBS, including CBS News, Paramount Pictures, MTV, Nickelodeon, Paramount Plus, TikTok USA, and Skydance Media. In case you're wondering why your 60 Minutes and your CBS News has a slightly different flavor, Larry Ellison would be the reason why. Just saying. Not saying how your news has changed if you still watch CBS News, but it's changed. 2. Elon Musk. Estimated net worth around $685 billion. What media outlets does Elon Musk own? Twitter and XAI, including the infamous Grok, the AI chatbot. 3. Jeff Bezos. Estimated net worth is $249 billion. What media entities does Jeff Bezos own? The Washington Post, which will never again break another scandal ever as long as Jeff Bezos owns it. Just saying, just theorizing. Amazon, including MGM Studios, Prime, Twitch, Audible, IMDb, Amazon Live, and AWS Elemental. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, maybe keep one eye open on whatever entertainment's coming out of Amazon and whatever news is coming out of the Post. And remind yourself, anytime you look at it, enjoy it, think about it, share it, it's owned by someone. 4. With my apologies for my pronunciations, Bernard Arnault. Estimated net worth is $202 billion. What media entities does Bernard Arnault hold? Les Echos, Le Parisien, Paris Match, Radio Classique, L'Opinion, Le Gaffi, and Challenges. 5. Mark Zuckerberg. Estimated net worth is $228 billion. What media entities does Mark Zuckerberg own and control? Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, Threads, WhatsApp, MetaQuest, and Giphy. I did not know he had a hand in Giphy. 6. Larry Page. Estimated net worth is $265 billion. Sergey Brin is number 7. Estimated net worth is $247 billion. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the media entity that they have their hands in, of course, is Google and YouTube. Outside of the 7 wealthiest media barons, here are some other media moguls who control a huge amount of the news and entertainment people around the world are consuming. Brian L. Roberts of the Comcast Corporation. His estimated net worth is $1.4 billion. The media empire he controls includes NBC Universal. NBC Universal includes NBC, Telemundo, USA Network, Sci-Fi, Bravo, E, CNBC, MSNBC, or MS Now. Did they spin off? And other networks. NBC Universal also includes Universal Pictures, Illumination Entertainment, Focus Features, and Universal Television. NBC Universal also includes Peacock, NBC.com, Telemundo.com, and other streaming sites and digital platforms. NBC Universal also includes the theme parks and resorts. Also included in Brian L. Roberts' media empire is Sky Europe, which includes Sky News, Sky Sports, Sky Cinema, and Sky Go or Sky Now. Brian L. Roberts' empire also includes Comcast and Xfinity, and wouldn't you know it, down there, tucked away in his media empire is Snap Inc., which includes Snapchat. Here's another media mogul. Number 2 is Jonathan Harmsworth, the 4th Viscount of Rothmere. You may recall, the owner of the Daily Mail. Harmsworth is currently negotiating to acquire the Daily Telegraph and the Sunday Telegraph. Jonathan Harmsworth's net worth is estimated to be $1.5 billion. Included in his media empire is, of course, the Daily Mail, Mail on Sunday, and Mail Online. Lowercase I, which was a daily newspaper, they took over. Metro, Find a Property, Prime Location, Job Site, Classic FM, and New Scientist. If the Harmsworth family is allowed to acquire the Daily Telegraph and the Sunday Telegraph, you can bet the flavor of the news that comes out of the Telegraph is probably going to change, just a little bit. Number 3, Rupert Murdoch. You may have heard of him. Estimated net worth is around $24 billion or $25 billion. Included in his media empire is Fox Corporation, which of course includes the infamous Fox News, and Tubi. Also included in his media empire is News Corp. News Corp includes the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, the Times and the Sunday Times, the Sun, News Corp Australia, HarperCollins Publishers, including Christian and Bible publishing imprints such as Zondervan, and digital and classified media, for example, REA Group. Here's another media mogul. Number 4, Jay Penske. Jay Penske via Penske Media Corporation or PMC. His estimated net worth is only $250 million. Ooh. Included in Jay Penske's media empire, Variety, Rolling Stone, The Hollywood Reporter, Billboard Magazine, Deadline Hollywood, IndieWire, Gold Derby, Women's Wear Daily, Fairchild Fashion Media, The Robb Report, She Media and She Media Network, Artforum and Art News, BGR, The Boy Genius Report, and TV Line, which he just sold this year. Jay Penske's media empire also includes Vox Media, South by Southwest, the Life is Beautiful Music and Art Festival, the ATX Television Festival, and many more. Jay Penske's media empire also includes television and awards businesses. For example, Dick Clark Productions. Jay Penske owns Dick Clark Productions? One example of this relationship includes the Golden Globes. So the Golden Globe Awards are owned and organized by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. However, While the HFPA controls the awards, NBC traditionally held the broadcast rights until 2022 when NBC dropped them. Dick Clark Productions took over the Golden Globe ceremony. So while the HFPA owns the awards themselves, the production and the broadcast are handled by Dick Clark Productions and other outside companies. Think about that the next time you watch an award show and wonder why someone was or was not nominated, or why someone was or was not trashed in a magazine, or why someone was or was not featured on the cover of a magazine. Ask yourself who owns the publication and who benefited from putting so-and-so on the cover or not putting so-and-so on the cover. Just some rhetorical things to think about the next time you watch an award show or think you can trust something that you're reading or seeing in a magazine. Just a thought.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
Collectively, these 10 individuals are worth an estimated $2.57 trillion. For comparison or reference, about 5 countries around the world have a GDP near $2.57 trillion. Number 9. On the top 10 worst things billionaires did this year. Again, this is presented in no particular order. Number 9. The 10 richest billionaires list. I figure we should probably list out who are the 10 richest. Number 1. Elon Musk, the world's richest person. Estimated net worth is currently $684 to $700 billion. He is on track to become the world's first trillionaire, thanks to SpaceX, Tesla, XAI, and his other ventures. 2. Larry Page, Google co-founder, reported to be among the richest people in the world with $265 billion net worth. Number 3. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, continues to be among the top billionaires in the world with a net worth of $249 billion. Sergey Brin, Google co-founder, net worth is estimated to be $247 billion. Larry Ellison, Oracle co-founder, estimated to be worth $238 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, famously of Facebook, he is reported to be worth about $228 billion. Number 7. Bernard Arnault and his family. He is said to be worth around $202 billion. Steve Ballmer, former CEO of Microsoft, is said to be worth about $167 billion. Number 9. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, is said to be worth $152 billion. And rounding out the top 10, number 10, Warren Buffett, of Berkshire Hathaway fame, is said to be worth around $150 billion. Collectively, these 10 individuals are worth an estimated $2.57 trillion. For comparison or reference, about 5 countries around the world have a GDP near $2.57 trillion, including Italy, Canada, Brazil, France, and the United Kingdom. The collective population of Italy, Canada, Brazil, France, and the United Kingdom is about 448 million people. That means these 10 multi-billionaires hold for themselves wealth that dwarfs the economies of 5 major countries around the world.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
CEO pay is up 1,085% since 1978, while the salary for the average worker is up just 24% since 1978. To place this in context, while average worker pay in the United States has only risen 24% since 1978, the cost of living has risen about 400%. Number 10 in our list of the top 10 worst things billionaires did this year, and again, presented in no particular order, number 10, the newest billionaires in the world. The number of billionaires worldwide and their combined wealth reached record highs this year, while the overall number of billionaires jumped this year from 2,682 to 2,919. Rising stocks and IPOs helped create 287 new billionaires. For example, Hailey Bieber allegedly became a billionaire this year via her sale of her beauty brand, Rhode, following in the footsteps of the Kardashian-Jenners, who allegedly became billionaires after the sales of their beauty brands. The United States led the global increase in billionaires, with 92 billionaires representing $180 billion of wealth. Just for comparison's sake, per Robert Reich, CEO pay is up 1,085% since 1978, while the salary for the average worker is up just 24% since 1978. To place this in context, while average worker pay in the United States has only risen 24% since 1978, the cost of living has risen about 400%. Ever wonder why the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to? Or why they canceled the worthless penny entirely and stopped making it this year? In effect, due to the nearly 400% inflation rate, the average worker in the United States today makes about a 16th the value of what the average worker earned in 1978. 1/16. While the average baby boom generation worker could afford a house and college and retirement, the average wage worker today can barely afford to make rent. Government policies and billionaire greed brought us to this point. Ask yourself, who's controlling the government where you live and making its policies that you have to live by? In the United States, look at the Trump administration, collectively worth about $741 billion. Look at the Trump Congress, collectively worth well above $5 billion. Look at the Trump Supreme Court, collectively worth about $64 million. The policies keeping wages and support services low for the majority of the population in the United States are literally made by among the wealthiest people in the world. Ask yourself this rhetorical question. These billionaires are literally making the laws we the people in the bottom 50% are required to follow. Are these billionaires making the laws in anyone's best interest besides their own? That was a rhetorical question, strictly rhetorical. It has been reported multiple times, however, it does bear repeating. The income disparity we live with today is astronomically worse than the income disparity we lived with leading up to the Great Depression, when robber barons controlled banking, the railroads, and other major forms of industry. Today, the robber barons control our news and our entertainment, as well as almost every aspect of our government. This is a friendly reminder to just know who owns the news and entertainment you consume, and to know who's writing the laws that we, the regular people, are required to follow. Again, we recognize that this is in no way a definitive list. In closing, I'd like to leave you with this quote. What about the Epstein case do you think the public still does not fully understand? And this answer was given on the 14th of December. Quote, people don't understand that he was a fixer. They think he was just a trafficker of underage girls. The deal was Epstein could get you anything, including the kids, including the inappropriate wrens. The pedophilia is probably the most heinous thing, but I think a lot of despicable and illegal things are being ignored because people are only focused on the pedophilia aspect. I'm sure there's the boring illegal stuff you'd expect, like mountains of cocaine, but there's also likely to be the trafficking of adults, and even things like murder for hire. Epstein Island is being characterized as the place you would go to have inappropriate relations with children, but it should probably be characterized as the place you go where there's no laws because you're rich. We at Billionaires News Now welcome your comments regarding the billionaires who are missing from this list. We invite your suggestions for the billionaires who should have been included here, or who should be sent to the guillotine, or the mouth of the active volcano, or the Vermette Arena to fight to the finish. In these trying, unequal times where the world's richest 10% holds about 50% of the world's wealth, while we, the regular people in the bottom 50%, hold only around 8% of the world's wealth, Billionaires News Now is here for you. From the BNN News Desk to you, we wish you the merriest of holidays, whatever holiday you may celebrate. May the lumps of coal we the people have been given keep you and yours warm and safe and fed and happy. And remember, Ebenezer Scrooge paid Bob Cratchit 15 shillings a week, which, when adjusted for inflation, is estimated to be around £600 per week, or approximately $32,000 a year. Meanwhile, a person in the United States earning the minimum wage of $7.25 per hour and working full-time, assuming they're working full-time, makes approximately $15,000 a year before taxes. This amount is below the official federal poverty level for a single-person household, which is set to $15,650. Bear in mind, the FPL, federal poverty level, was established in the 1960s and has not since been adjusted for inflation. And remember, since 1978, the cost of living has risen about 400%. Maybe we, the people, should stop asking the sleeping baby Jesus to take the wheel, because God ain't got nothing to do with this mess. God bless.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
I'd like to thank you for listening, and if you like what you have seen and heard, please consider following or subscribing or checking out the book itself.
Let's give it a quick drop and split the orange clean in half.
So in this first chapter, which is doing, again, so much heavy lifting, is trying to give you the context, is trying to bring you into this world where everything is a little bit backwards from our current world. It's hopefully giving you the context that you need if you haven't read the rules and regulations, if you haven't visited the website. Even if you don't understand, hopefully this opening chapter is at least tickling something in your brain and making you go, that's interesting. And then if you have read the rules and regulations, then this will make perfect sense to you. Like, oh yes, I see what they're doing. And then, Lev has these final lines where he looks at everyone in the boardroom and says, this is not just about the company, and this is not just about me. This affects each and every one of you too. We either solve this problem, or our next meeting will be all of us together on the floor of Vermet Arena. And there, I'll be poking your eyes out for real. So that's calling back, if you think about Naked Eye. So that's calling back to Naked Eye. And then what is this Vermet Arena? For those of you who've read the big rules and regulations, you know what the Vermet Arena is, and you're pumped. But if you don't know, if you're reading this cold, you're thinking, why would their next meeting be together on the floor of Vermet Arena? And there he'll be poking their eyes out for real? Hopefully that's got you a little excited. So that's the opening chapter of My Billionaires Games by J.L. Gould, Level 1. And I should also note that the entire book, all the primary chapters are going to go up on Reddit, and then the Apocrypha is only going to be available in the book form because the Apocrypha would be spoilery. I'd like to thank you for listening, and if you like what you have seen and heard, please consider following or subscribing or checking out the book itself. Thank you very much for your time. In the name of fairness, please be well.